Hey guys, it's Mr. Rowan here, and we're going to be continuing on with our solids unit. We're talking about volume today. So we talked about surface area last time, and we're doing volume again. And again, we're going to try to do this pretty quickly just because all these things are stuff that you can Google. You can just find the formula out. So for the volume of a sphere, it's going to be 4/3 pi r cubed. If you are interested in deriving that formula, you're going to have to wait till calculus, um, just because you guys don't know how to do it yet. So, uh, pretty simple formula. You guys can plug in the values for the volume of a sphere. You just plug in the radius. For the volume of a prism, it's length times width times height. Um, so that's what it is for a rectangular prism anyway. Essentially what it is it's going to be the area of your base times height. So if you have a rectangular prism like this one, it doesn't really matter which one is length, which one is width, and which one is height because it's all commutative. You're just multiplying across. So 15 times 8 times 10, that's going to be the same thing no matter what order you do it in. So for the other one, so for the triangular prism, instead of doing length times width as our base, it's 1/2 base times height. So we have to take the shape of our base into account when we are solving these. So the big B is equal to 1/2 3 times 4. So that's 6. And then the height, even though 4 is the one that's standing straight up, it's actually not going to be our height. Our height is what it would be if we stood the prism up on its base. So just imagine yourself tilting it up, and then that height is actually going to be 6. So just make sure that you are using the right values for height, because it can be a little bit confusing if the prism is lying on its side. Cylinder is really similar to prism. It's the same general idea. It's going to be base times height. We learned in our last unit that the volume is pi r squared h. So this is another one where we just plug in our values. One of the things that you kind of want to remember to do is it's usually best to leave your answer in terms of pi. So that's better than getting an imprecise decimal. All right, so let's move right along to the volume of a pyramid. Okay, so the volume of a pyramid is 1/3 base times height. Base being, notice how it's a capital B, so that's the area. Whenever you have a capital letter like that, that's what they show you to kind of indicate that they're adding another dimension to this one. So in this one, this is a square pyramid, and so we're assuming that both sides have a side of 6 inches. So our base, it's a square, so that would be 36. And then now notice how we're not using slant height for this one. We're using the regular height. Now when we were doing surface area, we were looking at slant height, which is the indicated 5 inches there. But you can sort of see there's actually going to be a right triangle where we're measuring half of it, so the distance from the edge to directly underneath the vertex is going to be half the side. So 3 squared plus our height plus our h squared is equal to our hypotenuse squared. And the hypotenuse is going to be our slant height. So we say 3 squared plus h squared equals 5 squared, so h squared is 16. So we did a nice example for you. H is 4. So sometimes you have to do a little bit of extra work to figure out exactly what you have to do to get that height. It's not always going to be super obvious. And then don't forget that we have to go back and plug this into our formula. So it's not just finding the height, even though once you've solved a problem, it can be tempting to think that you're done, but we're not quite done. So 1/3 times 36 times 4, it should give us 48 inches, right? I think so. And lastly, we're going to quickly go over cone. A cone it's pretty similar to a pyramid. So in this case, we're just doing 1/3 times pi r squared times h. So it was just like in the last one. It's 1/3 times the base times the height. But in this case, our base is a circle. So the area of our circle is going to be pi r squared. So if we take a look here, we see we have a radius of 3 feet. And you notice that the radius is also part of a right triangle. So we can do 3 squared plus our height squared equals 19 squared. And then we use that information to find the height of our cone. So I'm gonna stop the video now and see if you guys can do this on your own. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. See you later.